Welcome to Echoes of Ihsan. You know, we love to dive deep into fascinating Islamic knowledge and tradition, and today we're going to be cracking open Book 8 of the Muwatta Imam Malik. It's called Prayer in Congregation, and we're going to try to uncover some of the hidden depths of this really essential practice.
Sounds good.
You might think prayer is a pretty simple thing, very personal act,
Yeah.
but trust me, there's a whole universe of meaning kind of woven into praying together.
Absolutely. It's interesting what this book reveals about communal life in Islam.
Yeah.
This was compiled by Imam Malik, a renowned scholar in the 8th century. And the Muwatta is a collection of hadith.
Right.
And essentially they're records of what Prophet Muhammad said and did.
Exactly.
And it really gives us a window into the values and practices of the early Muslim community.
Okay. So let's jump right into the deep end. Book 8 starts by stating that congregational prayer is 25 or even 27 degrees better than praying alone. Now, those numbers sound pretty impressive, but what do they actually mean? Are we talking about some celestial scoreboard here?
Right. That's a great question, and it gets at how we interpret these ancient texts. You see, these degrees aren't about a literal scorecard in the afterlife. It's more about understanding the profound impact of communal worship. When we pray together, our intentions are amplified, our connection to the divine is strengthened, and we sort of tap into a spiritual energy that transcends individual practice.
So it's not just about ticking a box, it's about experiencing that deeper level of connection, both with the divine and with each other.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the power of shared intention and the transformative potential of that collective worship. And, this emphasis on community is highlighted even further in a rather striking hadith,
Okay.
where the Prophet Muhammad considered burning down the houses of those who skipped Isha prayer.
Well, hold on. Burning down houses, that sounds a bit extreme, doesn't it?
It definitely grabs your attention. But to understand it, we need to step back into the historical context of early Medina. Imagine you're living in a newly formed community, facing external threats and internal struggles. The act of praying together wasn't just about piety.
Right.
It was a powerful symbol of unity and strength. It was a way of saying we stand together, shoulder to shoulder, in our faith and commitment to each other.
So it was almost like a public declaration of solidarity, a powerful reminder of the importance of collective responsibility. It makes you think about the role of rituals and communal gatherings, even in our modern world, in strengthening those social bonds.
Absolutely. Think about team sports, community festivals, or even just gathering around a shared meal. These shared experiences create a sense of belonging and remind us that we're part of something larger than ourselves.
And in the case of Isha prayer, it was particularly important because it marked the end of the day, a time for the community to come together and reaffirm those bonds before that stillness of the night.
Precisely. And this idea of communal rhythm is further emphasized by the Muwatta's focus on Isha
Okay.
and Subh.
Dawn prayer.
Yeah. As being particularly important for congregational observance, these prayers performed at the beginning and the end of the day. They bookend our daily lives with shared moments of spiritual reflection and connection.
It's like a heartbeat pulsing through the community, marking the beginning and end of each day with this shared act of worship. And speaking of the significance of these prayers, there's a hadith that compares attending them to standing in prayer for half the night or even the entire night, which really underscores their spiritual weight.
Yes, that hadith beautifully illustrates the immense blessings associated with these specific congregational prayers. And it suggests that by participating in these communal acts of worship, we tap into a profound spiritual dimension, akin to dedicating ourselves to prolonged individual prayer.
It's like saying that the energy and intention generated by the community amplifies the spiritual impact of these prayers, making them even more powerful than praying alone for those extended periods. Makes you wonder about the potential of collective intention and the idea that we can achieve more together than we ever could alone.
That's a really insightful observation, and it speaks to the profound interconnectedness that lies at the heart of Islamic teachings.
Now, let's say you've already prayed alone, but then the opportunity arises to join a congregation. Should you pray again?
That's a question that sparked some debate even among the early scholars. And the Muwatta reflects this dynamism of Islamic thought.
Okay.
For instance, Abdullah ibn Umar advised repeating the prayer with the congregation, emphasizing the value of communal worship.
Okay.
However, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyab took a slightly different approach, suggesting that ultimately the acceptance of the prayer rests with Allah regardless of whether it's performed individually or in congregation.
So even the greatest scholars had these nuanced perspectives, which I find so fascinating. It highlights the importance of intention and sincerity in our actions.
Exactly. It's a reminder that the outward form of our actions is only one part of the equation. What truly matters is the state of our hearts and our sincere desire to connect with the divine.
It's not about blindly following rules. It's about understanding the spirit behind them and applying them with wisdom and compassion.
Precisely. And this emphasis on inner intention extends to another interesting scenario discussed in the Muwatta, praying behind an imam who is sitting due to illness or injury.
But isn't there a preference for praying standing?
Yes, there is, but in such cases, the congregation follows the imam's lead and prays sitting as well. This highlights the principle of unity and the imam's role as a guide in prayer. The Muwatta even recounts a hadith where the Prophet Muhammad himself led the prayer sitting and instructed everyone to do the same,
Wow.
demonstrating the importance of accommodating individual needs within the collective act of worship.
So it's not about this rigid uniformity, but about finding ways to come together while respecting those individual circumstances and abilities.
Exactly. This hadith beautifully illustrates the compassion and inclusivity embedded within Islamic teachings. While praying standing might be the ideal, allowances are made for those who are unable, ensuring that everyone can participate in this essential act of worship.
Okay. Now, for a bit of a mystery, the Muwatta refers to a middle prayer, but there's some debate about which prayer it actually is.
Ah, yes, the enigma of the middle prayer. This is a fascinating example of how different interpretations can arise within Islamic scholarship. Some scholars, citing the hadith of Aisha, believe the middle prayer refers to Zuhr, the midday prayer.
Okay.
They argue that it falls in the middle of the 5 daily prayers. However, other prominent figures, including Ali ibn Abi Talib and Abdullah ibn Abbas, interpreted it as Subh, the dawn prayer.
So we have these two compelling interpretations, each backed by prominent figures and their understanding of the texts. How do we as modern readers kind of navigate that ambiguity?
It's a reminder that religious texts are often layered with meaning and that different interpretations can enrich our understanding. Instead of seeking a rigid, one-size-fits-all answer, we can approach these discrepancies with intellectual curiosity and humility.
So it's more about engaging in that thoughtful inquiry and recognizing that there might not always be a single definitive answer.
Exactly. The Muwatta invites us to delve into these nuances, to wrestle with different perspectives, and to ultimately arrive at our own understanding, grounded in knowledge and respect for the tradition.
And now let's shift gears and talk about something a bit more down to earth.
Right.
Appropriate clothing for prayer.
Ah, yes, the age-old question of what to wear.
Yeah.
It's natural to wonder about these practical aspects of religion practice.
Right.
But the Muwatta emphasizes modesty over strict uniformity when it comes to attire for prayer.
So it's not about stressing over a rigid dress code.
Not at all. The emphasis is on ensuring that our attire allows us to focus on the essence of prayer, connecting with the divine without distraction or discomfort. The Muwatta even includes anecdotes about the Prophet Muhammad praying in a single garment, and advice given to women about praying in a shift and head covering. It emphasizes covering the body respectfully rather than adhering to a specific fashion trend.
So the focus is on inner intention and presence rather than outward appearances.
Yeah.
It's about creating a space where we can connect with the divine without being distracted by our clothes.
Precisely. The true beauty lies in the sincerity of our intention and the depth of our connection with the divine, not in the outward appearance of our clothing. It's fascinating how these seemingly mundane details about clothing actually reflect a deeper principle within Islam, a balance between guidance and flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, the Muwatta offers guidelines, but it also recognizes that individual circumstances and cultural contexts can influence how those guidelines are interpreted and applied.
You're right. It's not about being legalistic, but about understanding that spirit of the law and applying it with wisdom and compassion.
Exactly.
And that spirit, as we see in the Muwatta, emphasizes the importance of presence and intention during prayer, regardless of what you're wearing.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a state of mindfulness and focusing on that inner experience of connecting with the divine, recognizing that true prayer transcends external forms and rituals.
Okay, so we've explored the profound importance of congregational prayer, the emphasis on community and unity, and the flexibility and understanding within Islamic practice. But what does all of this mean for us today? Why should we, as modern listeners, care about these ancient texts and traditions?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that lies at the heart of our deep dive today. The beauty of the Muwatta Imam Malik is that it doesn't just offer historical insights. It provides timeless wisdom that can guide us in navigating the complexities of our own lives even centuries later.
It's like a bridge connecting the past and the present, offering guidance for our modern journeys.
Precisely. For instance, the emphasis on congregational prayer reminds us of the power of community and shared purpose, something that's often lacking in our increasingly individualistic society.
It's funny, we live in a hyper-connected world, with social media and instant communication at our fingertips,
Yeah.
yet so many people feel isolated and disconnected, almost like we've lost the art of genuine human connection.
I think you've hit on something really important there. We might be digitally connected, but that doesn't necessarily translate to a sense of belonging or shared purpose. And that's where the wisdom of the Muwatta comes in.
Right.
It reminds us that we're social beings, wired for connection, and that coming together for a shared purpose, whether it's for prayer or any other meaningful activity, can nourish our souls and strengthen our communities.
It's about recognizing that we're not meant to go through life alone. We need each other.
Yes.
And the Muwatta, in its emphasis on congregational prayer, offers a blueprint for building strong, supportive communities where individuals can thrive.
Exactly. And this sense of community is not just about social gatherings. It's about cultivating a shared sense of responsibility and compassion,
Right.
recognizing that our actions have ripple effects and that we have a duty to care for each other.
And that sense of responsibility extends beyond our immediate circle to encompass the wider community, right?
Absolutely. The Muwatta reminds us that our interconnectedness extends beyond our families and friends to encompass all of humanity. And this realization should inspire us to act with greater kindness, generosity, and understanding towards all beings.
It's like that saying, no man is an island.
Yes.
We're all part of this intricate web of life. And our actions, however small they may seem, can have a profound impact on the world around us.
Precisely. And the Muwatta, through its teachings on prayer and community, offers us a framework for living a more meaningful and connected life.
But it's not just about blindly following traditions, right? The Muwatta also encourages critical thinking and open-mindedness, as we saw in the debate surrounding the middle prayer.
You're absolutely right. The Muwatta doesn't shy away from presenting different interpretations and perspectives. It encourages us to engage with the text actively, to question our assumptions, and to arrive at our own understanding.
So it's not about accepting dogma, it's about embracing that richness and complexity of Islamic thought.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that knowledge isn't static. It's a living, breathing thing that evolves and expands as we engage with it critically and thoughtfully.
And that's what makes the Muwatta such a powerful and relevant text, even today.
Yeah.
It invites us into a conversation, a dialogue, where we can grapple with these timeless questions and find meaning and guidance for our modern lives.
And perhaps most importantly, the Muwatta's focus on intention and sincerity reminds us that true worship isn't confined to specific times and places, but permeates our thoughts, actions, and interactions with the world around us.
You know, it's like that saying, pray as if you were going to die tomorrow and live as if you're going to live forever. It's about bringing that same level of presence and intention to every moment, every encounter.
I love that. It's about infusing our lives with a sense of sacredness and recognizing that every breath, every step can be an act of worship.
It's about cultivating a deep awareness of our connection to the divine, not just during prayer, but in every aspect of our being.
And that, I believe, is a message that resonates deeply, regardless of one's background or beliefs. It's a universal call to live with purpose, to connect with something larger than ourselves, and to find meaning in those everyday moments.
And as we continue this deep dive into the Muwatta Imam Malik, I'm struck by how these ancient teachings can feel so relevant and timely, even in our modern world.
I agree. It's a testament to the enduring power of these texts and their ability to speak to the human condition across time and cultures.
Like they offer a roadmap, guiding us towards a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
Precisely. And as we delve deeper into the Muwatta, I encourage you, our listeners, to reflect on how these teachings resonate with your own lives. What insights are you gleaning? How can you apply these timeless wisdoms to your modern experiences?
You know, as we're talking about the power of intention and this transformative potential of prayer, I'm left with this lingering question. If prayer is like a conversation with the divine, what shifts when we have that conversation as a community rather than individually? Does it change the nature of that connection?
That's a beautiful question, really thought-provoking. It makes me think about the difference between singing solo and being part of a choir.
Okay.
When you're singing alone, your voice carries a certain intimacy, vulnerability.
Hmm.
But when you join a chorus, something magical happens. The individual voices blend together, creating a harmony that is both powerful and transcendent.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's the same with prayer.
So you're saying that when we pray together, our individual intentions are kind of amplified,
Mm.
creating this collective energy that resonates more powerfully with the divine.
Exactly. Imagine a group of people meditating together. That combined focus and intention can create a very palpable sense of peace and tranquility, almost as if a shared energy field is enveloping the group. It's possible that when we pray in congregation, we tap into a similar collective consciousness, aligning our intentions and creating a spiritual force that's greater than the sum of its parts.
It's like the idea that thoughts and emotions can be contagious.
Yeah.
When we're surrounded by people who are focused on prayer and connection, it naturally elevates our own state of mind, amplifies our intentions.
Precisely. And it's not just about amplifying our individual prayers, it's also about supporting each other's spiritual journeys. When we pray together, we're sharing a common experience, offering each other encouragement, strength, and reminding each other that we're not alone in our struggles and aspirations.
That's like having a workout buddy. You're more likely to push yourself and stay committed when you know someone else is counting on you. And in the context of prayer, that shared commitment can really elevate our spiritual practice, inspiring us to reach new heights of devotion and connection.
That's a great analogy. And let's not forget the profound sense of belonging that comes from being part of a spiritual community. In a world where so many people feel isolated and disconnected, congregational prayer offers that space where individuals can come together, share their hopes and fears, find solace in the knowledge that they're part of something larger than themselves.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not meant to navigate the challenges of life alone. We have a community to lean on, to learn from, to grow with. And that support system can be incredibly empowering, especially during those times of difficulty or doubt.
Absolutely. The Muwatta's emphasis on congregational prayer isn't just about fulfilling a religious duty. It's about tapping into a powerful source of collective energy, support, and inspiration that can enrich our individual lives and strengthen the fabric of our communities.
It's about recognizing that our spiritual well-being is interconnected. We can uplift and inspire each other on our journeys of faith, and that together we can create a more compassionate and connected world. As we wrap up this deep dive, I encourage you, our listeners, to reflect on your own experiences with prayer, both individual and communal. What insights have you gained? How has prayer shaped your life? And how can you apply the wisdom we've gleaned from the Muwatta Imam Malik to enrich your spiritual practices and foster a greater sense of community in your own lives?
These are questions worth pondering as we continue our own journeys of faith and discovery.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Muwatta Imam Malik. We'll be back next time with another fascinating exploration of Islamic knowledge and tradition. Until then, may your prayers be filled with sincerity, your hearts with peace, and your lives with meaning.